Yes, and to a very important conversation, plastic pollution continues to threaten Ghana's environment, clogging drains, polluting waterways, and worsening flooding in communities across the country. On Tuesday, which is tomorrow, August 11, in partnership with IMANI Center for Policy and Education, will convene a high-level national dialogue to examine practical solutions for sustainable plastic waste management. The dialogue themed unpacking the sustainability of the extended producer responsibility in Ghana will bring together policymakers, industry leaders, environmental experts, researchers, and civil society organizations to discuss how Ghana can build an effective and a sustainable plastic waste management system. And joining me in the studio this morning is Dennis Asare. He's a senior research associate with IMANI to discuss expectations ahead of tomorrow's dialogue. Welcome, Mr. Asare.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining me this morning.
Thanks for having
and
me.
Very importantly, I mean, it's no news, the situation we find ourselves with plastic waste. Very, very, dangerous. And moving into this conversation tomorrow, I know you're co-hosting IMANI with us. Where would be the focus, the important areas to note in tomorrow's conversation that intends to make a difference in the overall outlook of plastic management in the country?
All right, thank you very much, Mami, and good morning to your viewers as well. So tomorrow, the key issue that we are going to look at in the discussion is the upcoming Extended Producer Responsibility Law. So since 2013, we have tried voluntary mechanisms to manage plastic waste, but it has not worked.
Before you continue,
yes,
what does that even mean? It sounds very
very
complicated.
Good. So the Extended Producer Responsibility Law means that now producers of plastic and plastic users do not have, would not be required voluntarily to manage the plastic waste, but now it's going to be mandatory, which means that once you put a plastic product on the market, that is a regulated product, and an example is your PET bottles, the regular water bottles you drink. When you buy detergents, the bottles that are in it, flexible plastic like styrofoam and multi-layered plastic, or any product that contains plastic material. The moment you put it on the market, you are responsible from the production to its recycling.
Right.
What that means is that now it is going to be mandatory for you to put in mechanisms to collect the waste, recycle, and even ensure that the product you are putting on the market is recyclable. And this is very, very a momentous decision that the EPA has taken, because if you look around the world, all the countries that are successful at managing plastic, they have shifted towards the extended producer responsibility. One benefit is that it helps you to also build your recycling industry.
Right.
And now, three key things stand out in this regulation. One, we are going to set up a mechanism where producers of plastic will be required to implement what we call the take-back system. The take-back system means is that the moment you put plastic on the market, implement a mechanism that can trace and collect the plastic, and you must report on your collection and also the recycling. The next thing is that the EPA is also considering including what we call the minimum content requirement, what in other parts of the world they call post-consumer recycled content mandate. What that means is that before producing a plastic product, you must ensure that a component of recycled material, a secondary recycled material, is part of it, which means we are going to reduce the virgin material importation. One staggering fact is that we import about 3.3 million metric tons of plastic. We put out into the market about 1 million metric tons of plastic waste every year. Wow. But our recycling capacity is 20%. And one of the reasons why our recycling capacity has also not grown is that recycling is not mandatory. It's always been voluntary. But with this law, it's going to be mandatory. And once it is passed, producers will be required to also use secondary material. That ensures that we are building on both sides our collection rate and also our recycling. And these are the two important things that will come up in the conversation. Another thing is that we have a very complex plastic management industry. It has an informal and formal sector.
Right.
Now, this law is trying to ensure that every player within the sector benefit from the law. And so we're also going to center more on what role will informal collectors play. The next thing we also look at, what is industry's readiness? Because if you pass the law and industry is not ready to also implement it, then it means that it's going to be moot. So another center of the conversation will be industry readiness, as well as our domestic waste collectors, their readiness to collect the waste and also enforce the buyback system. And also another aspect that we're also going to ensure is that how do we collectively build a recycling industry that is able to respond to the need of the plastic manufacturers?
All right.
Yeah.
So that's very interesting. I think that makes the conversation exciting. But also for everyday Ghanaians who actually use the product. I know in other countries they segregate the waste so that you have the plastics and other waste, products that will be picked up, from their homes. So in this situation, the law that is there and is supposed to be passed, how are you inculcating the everyday person to also ensuring that it's successful?
Thank you very much. So if you look at the first draft of the law that has come out, the responsibility of ensuring that plastic waste is effectively managed does not only sit with the producer. So the producer has his own responsibility. Now retailers are supposed to ensure that the products that they are buying, the producer complies with the EPR mechanism.
Right.
Another dimension to it is that you as a consumer, there is also a patriotic mandate on you to ensure that the producer that you are buying their product also complies with the EPR mechanism. Another way the EPA is also trying to bring communities into this is that district assemblies will play a key role in the enforcement of the EPR because sanitation is more like a local government function. Another way that EPA is bringing communities inside is also the take-back system. That means that as a producer, you need to put in mechanisms where that would incentivize households to return the plastic product that they purchase from you. And so all of these mechanisms are to ensure that consumers who are at the heart of this EPR bill are encouraged to participate. First, ensuring that consumers will be educated. So in the law, the EPR fee that is going to be imposed, a fraction of that is going to be dedicated to research and development, including information and awareness campaigns, so that producers are consumers would also now look out for companies that comply with our EPR mechanism, buy from them, and also participate in their take-back system. What that means is that we are making it, that's why this conversation is so important, that it affects everybody.
Right.
And because it affects everybody, every voice must also contribute to shape the upcoming law. And that's why we are partnering Joy to put it on the national banner, ensure that wherever you are, tune in, make your contribution, and the panel is part covering industry, the coalitions within the plastic manufacturing groups, Zoomline, which is a major collector, and also the EPA, which is behind this particular regulation. Right. And so consumers have been well thought about in this law, and we are happy to partner Joy to, bring this conversation to our viewers. So we look forward to very interesting conversation.
I am also looking forward to this conversation tomorrow. It's coming off at 10 a.m. right here in the Joy News studio. No, not in the studio, but it will be telecast live from Joy News at 10 a.m. Do make a date, don't miss it, because it involves you.